Have you ever wondered how a simple village boy from South Africa grew up to become a global symbol of peace and justice? The story begins in Mvezo, a small village in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. On a chilly day in July in the year 1918, a boy named Rolilala was born. This name intriguingly translates to pulling the branch of a tree, or more colloquially, Troublemaker. Little did anyone know, this troublemaker would grow up to shake the very foundations of an unjust society. As a young man, Mandela pursued a law degree, first at the University of Fort Hare and later at the University of Witwatersrand. It was during these formative years that he began to delve into the world of anti-colonial politics, his sense of justice and equality guiding him. Mandela was no ordinary student. He was a young man who was starting to question the world around him. The seeds of rebellion were sown in Mandela's heart during his university years. He joined the African National Congress, a move that would forever alter the course of his life and South Africa. At the heart of Mandela's activism was the African National Congress, widely known as the ANC. This political organization was at the forefront of the struggle against apartheid, a system of racial segregation and discrimination enforced by the South African government. Apartheid, with its roots in colonialism, was a systematic oppression that denied the majority Black African inhabitants of their basic human rights. Mandela, with his legal expertise and passionate spirit, became an instrumental part of the ANC. He was not just a member but a driving force, pushing for change and challenging the status quo. His role went beyond attending meetings and giving speeches. He was at the forefront of organizing and participating in nonviolent protests, acts of civil disobedience, and mounting legal challenges against the apartheid regime. In the face of a government that was unwilling to listen, Mandela and his fellow activists had to resort to innovative methods to make their voices heard. They used nonviolent protests as a tool to disrupt the system and draw international attention to the injustices occurring in South Africa. Civil disobedience became a powerful weapon in their arsenal, a way to defy the oppressive laws without resorting to violence. Legal challenges were another significant part of their strategy. Mandela, with his law degree, was well equipped to fight apartheid in the courts. He used his legal knowledge to challenge unjust laws, expose the illegitimacy of the apartheid regime, and advocate for equality and justice. But Mandela's activism came at a high cost. His dedication to the cause was so unwavering, his commitment to equality and justice so strong, that he was willing to risk his own freedom. Little did he know that his journey would soon take a dramatic turn, leading him from the streets and courtrooms to the cold, harsh confines of a prison cell. Mandela's commitment to equality and justice was so strong that it led him to risk his own freedom. In 1962, the firebrand activist was arrested, marking the beginning of a 27-year-long incarceration. Nelson Mandela, the freedom fighter who dared to challenge the apartheid regime, was captured and put on trial. The charges against him were severe: sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the government. His verdict? A life sentence. A sentence that would see him spend over a quarter of a century behind bars. His new home was the notorious Robben Island prison, a place that had housed political prisoners and social outcasts for centuries. The prison was a stark, isolated fortress, surrounded by the frigid waters of the Atlantic. The cells were cramped, and the beds were nothing more than a thin mat on the cold, hard ground. The prisoners, including Mandela, were subjected to grueling hard labor in a limestone quarry. The blinding glare from the white limestone under the harsh African sun was a constant torture, causing permanent damage to Mandela's eyesight. Yet, even within these harsh conditions, Mandela refused to bow down. He continued his struggle for freedom, equality, and human rights. He studied, he wrote, he inspired his fellow prisoners. The prison walls became his classroom, his library, his parliament. He led debates on politics and strategy, fostering a sense of unity among the inmates. Every hardship, every injustice he endured only served to deepen his commitment to his cause. The man who entered Robben Island was a freedom fighter. The man who would leave 27 years later was a statesman, a leader ready to guide his nation towards a new era of democracy and reconciliation. The world outside the prison walls had changed, but so had Mandela. He had grown stronger, wiser, more determined. His spirit, far from being crushed, had been honed and hardened by his experiences. Yet the harsh prison conditions did not break Mandela. Instead, they steeled his resolve to fight for justice and equality. His time on Robben Island was not just a period of incarceration, it was a crucible, shaping and refining the man who would become a beacon of hope and resilience for South Africa and the world. In 1990, after 27 long years, Mandela was finally released from prison. But his journey was far from over. This release marked the beginning of a new chapter in both his life and the history of South Africa. No longer confined by prison walls, Mandela was free to continue the fight for freedom and equality on a grander scale. It was a time of profound change, not just for him, but for the entire nation. The oppressive system of apartheid was crumbling under the weight of international pressure and internal reform. Mandela, with his unyielding resolve and natural leadership, was at the forefront of these transformative events. His release from prison was not merely a personal victory, it signified a turning point in the struggle against racial segregation. Mandela's influence didn't stop at dismantling apartheid. He played a pivotal role in steering the nation towards a new era of democracy. His tireless efforts in negotiations set the stage for South Africa's first democratic elections in 1994, a historic event that marked the end of decades of racial discrimination in politics. But Mandela's triumphs didn't end there. The man who had spent almost 3 decades in prison for his defiance against an unjust system was elected as South Africa's first black president. It was a crowning achievement that seemed almost unthinkable just a few years prior. As president, Mandela's leadership saw the country transition from a racially divided society to a multiracial democracy. He served his nation from 1994 to 1999, leading with the same tenacity and conviction that had defined his activism. From prisoner to president, Mandela's journey was a testament to his indomitable spirit and unwavering commitment to his people. His story is a reminder that change, while often slow and painful, is possible. His presidency, like his life, is a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of equality, and the unyielding pursuit of justice. Mandela's presidency was not just about leading a nation. It was about healing a wounded country and building a future of equality and justice. When Nelson Mandela ascended to the presidency, he took on the colossal task of mending a nation deeply scarred by decades of racial segregation and discrimination. More than just a political leader, he was a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience, and a visionary who dreamt of a unified South Africa. Mandela's approach to healing his nation was marked by reconciliation and unity. He understood that the wounds of apartheid ran deep, and that healing them would require more than just political changes. It needed an honest confrontation of the past and a shared commitment to a better future. Under his leadership, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was established. This groundbreaking initiative was a forum for South Africans to confront the horrors of apartheid. Victims could share their stories, and perpetrators could seek amnesty by confessing their crimes. It was a painful but necessary process, one that aimed to foster understanding, forgiveness, and ultimately, reconciliation. But Mandela's impact extended far beyond the borders of South Africa. His relentless pursuit of justice, his unwavering commitment to equality, and his extraordinary resilience in the face of adversity made him a global icon. His life story resonated with people around the world, inspiring them to stand up against injustice and oppression in their own societies. Throughout his lifetime, Mandela was honored with numerous awards and recognitions for his contributions to peace and humanity. Among these was the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993, which he shared with then-President F.W. de Klerk for their joint effort in peacefully ending apartheid and laying the groundwork for a democratic South Africa. Yet perhaps the truest measure of Mandela's impact is seen not in the accolades he received, but in the enduring influence of his teachings. His message of forgiveness in the face of injustice, of unity in the face of division, and of peace in the face of conflict continues to inspire millions around the world. His life serves as a testament to the power of resilience and the indomitable strength of the human spirit. Even in death, Nelson Mandela's influence remains palpable. His legacy is seen in every corner where justice prevails, in every society that values equality, and in every heart that chooses love over hate. He may no longer be with us, but his spirit lives on, inspiring us to strive for a better, more just world. Nelson Mandela's life story is a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit and the enduring power of values like justice, equality, and peace. He may be gone, but his legacy continues to inspire millions around the world.